Do you feel it? An invisible movement around you, as if something is about to happen. Someone from your past carries a weight that has become unbearable. The one who once looked at you with arrogance, who discarded you as if you were insignificant, is now consumed by regret. This person thinks of you, more than they would like to admit. Memories return like an insistent whisper, as if fate itself is collecting on the debt of every harsh word, every gesture of disdain. But there is fear. The fear of not being accepted, of not being forgiven, of realizing that time has taken away any chance for a fresh start. And you? Does your heart still feel anything? Because if it does, that might be the sign that something needs to be resolved, that something can still change. This person is not sleeping well. The nights are long, filled with suffocating thoughts. They replay the scenes in their mind, trying to find the exact moment when they wronged you. They try to justify it, try to forget, but they can't, because the universe has its ways of reminding us of certain lessons. And now the lesson is a hard one. The arrogance that once inflated this person's ego has now transformed into emptiness. There is no longer pride, no longer superiority, just a growing discomfort, a desire to turn back time and undo every action that caused pain. But it's too late to go back, and the only possible path is to move forward. Yet moving on without addressing the past is impossible. What this person fears most now is not the judgment of others. It's yours. The gaze that once sought approval, that once received coldness and indifference, may now be the only thing capable of alleviating this guilt. The fear of rejection. And what if you don't want to listen? What if all the words of regret are not enough? This thought paralyzes any attempt at reconciliation. The fear of not being forgiven, of being ignored, weighs even heavier than regret. But something is changing. The need to fix things has become stronger than the fear. Pride is no longer an obstacle. Time has shown that hurting you came at a cost. And now the question remains, is there still a way back? The signs from the universe. Have you noticed small signs? Strange dreams, memories that come out of nowhere, songs that bring back moments you thought were buried. This isn't coincidence. The universe moves energies to bring clarity, to put in front of you what needs to be resolved. This person is feeling the same way. The signs are everywhere. However, unlike you, this person is afraid to face them, because to face them means admitting they were wrong. And admitting they were wrong means accepting that it might already be too late. But is it really too late? Or does this story still have something to reveal? The choice is yours. Fate can create the circumstances, but the final decision is yours. Are you willing to listen? Does your heart still carry any emotion for this person? Because if you still feel something, even if it's just a remnant of what once existed, it could mean that something is unfinished, something that needs clarification. But if your heart is already closed, if what once existed has been erased by time and pain, then perhaps this person needs to learn the hard way, living with the weight of what they did, without the chance to make amends. The past is knocking at the door. The question is, will you open it? The past is knocking at the door, and even if you don't want to, it's drawing closer. Can you feel it? This restlessness, this different energy around you. It's the universe preparing the way, because certain truths cannot be ignored forever. This person has rehearsed 1,000 times what to say. They've tried to imagine how you would react. Is there room for an apology? Do the right words still exist? But every time they try to move forward, fear paralyzes them. The fear of seeing in your eyes what they dread the most, indifference. But there's a limit to waiting. Eventually, this person will have to choose between hiding forever or taking the first step, even without guarantees. And when that happens, what will you do? The thoughts that won't cease. You can't imagine how many times your name has been silently spoken. How many times this person has held their phone staring at the screen, lacking the courage to write a message. Pride is no longer a shield. Time has destroyed any illusion of superiority. Now only guilt remains. Regret comes in waves. Sometimes it feels distant, dormant. But then some detail, a scent, a memory, a word said by someone else, brings it all rushing back. And then their chest tightens, because there's no longer a way to escape. The only way out now is the truth. But does that truth still have a place in your heart? The past cannot be erased, but it can be redefined. Do you know what's the cruelest part? not being able to go back and do things differently, knowing that every thoughtless gesture, every harsh word, every impulsive action left marks that may never fade away. But what if, despite the scars, something new could emerge, not to erase what happened, but to transform it, so that what was once pain becomes learning, so that what was a mistake turns into a new beginning, if not for a relationship, at least for inner peace. However, this choice is not in this person's hands, it's in yours. The approach will be inevitable. It may take days, weeks, maybe months, but you know this meeting is going to happen. The universe has already decided. The paths are crossing again. The silence that has lasted so long is about to be broken. And when that moment arrives, will your heart be ready? This person doesn't know how you will react. They only know that they need to try. They need to say what they've never had the courage to express, because living with this uncertainty is worse than any answer they could receive. But you? Do you already know what you will do when that happens? The final decision is yours. The past is calling you. The present is confronting you. And the future depends on the choice you make now. If this person appears before you, vulnerable, sincere, without the masks they used to wear, what will your heart say? Because in the end, time can heal, but certain wounds only close when the unspoken words finally find their voice. The moment of truth approaches. Can you feel it? The dense energy, the restlessness in the air, the signs that keep appearing when you least expect it? This isn't a coincidence. The universe has already paved the way, and it's narrowing. The moment is coming, and this person, even overwhelmed by fear, knows they need to confront you. No matter how hard they try to avoid it, the past has become a constant shadow. Guilt consumes, anxiety tightens, and the need to seek your forgiveness is almost unbearable. Maybe you have no idea of the battle happening within this person. Maybe you think everything has been forgotten, that time has erased it. But the truth is that time hasn't erased anything, it has only brought clarity. And that clarity hurts. The internal conflict before the reunion. This person has imagined the meeting dozens of times. They've rehearsed apologies, crafted explanations, and tried to find the best way to approach you without appearing weak. But insecurity eats away at them. Because deep down they know it may not be enough. What if you look at them and show nothing? If your eyes are empty, as if everything that happened no longer matters? That possibility is terrifying, but still, the need to speak outweighs the fear of rejection, because the weight of silence is more suffocating than any response you might receive. Your role in this encounter and you? Have you thought about what you'll do when that moment arrives? Because it will come. And when that person is standing in front of you, waiting for a reaction, hoping for a glance that indicates any possibility of redemption, what will you say? Will you ignore them, allowing the weight of the past to continue haunting you? Will you listen, even without promising forgiveness? Or is there still something inside you that desires reconciliation? No matter what your answer is, know that the decision is in your hands. The impact of your choice. What you do in that moment won't just affect that person. It will affect you too. If you ignore them, you'll carry with you the certainty that you've closed that door forever. If you listen, you might find answers to questions you didn't even know you were carrying. If you forgive, you may feel a relief you never imagined. And what if you give a second chance? That depends on what still resides in your heart. Destiny doesn't miss. The universe doesn't cross paths without reason. If this person is coming back into your life, it's because something needs to be resolved. It could be to close a chapter peacefully. It could be to begin something anew in a different way. But ignoring that call won't make it disappear. You can go on as if nothing is happening, but deep down, you know that the story isn't finished yet. Fate has already played its part. Now, it's up to you to decide what you'll do with it, because the final choice will always be yours. The heart still holds answers. You might say that you've moved on. You might claim that none of this matters anymore. But if everything were completely resolved within you, why does this message stir such restlessness in you? The heart has its own language. It doesn't forget easily. It doesn't ignore signs. It doesn't erase wounds as if they never existed. And no matter how much the mind tries to rationalize, justify, or minimize, there's something inside you that still reacts. Maybe it's just the surprise of knowing that this person still thinks about you. Maybe it's the echo of an old pain that you thought no longer had power. Or maybe deep down there's still something that needs to be said. And if that's the case, then know this. The universe won't leave this story unfinished. The silence that says everything. This person has been silent for too long. They've hidden their feelings, suppressed the guilt, pretended that none of it mattered. But now, this silence weighs more than any poorly spoken word from the past. The truth is, there are things that should have been said a long time ago, but fear held them back. Pride held them back. The moment never seemed right. And now there's no more delaying. When this person finally stands before you, they may not know where to start. There may be hesitation. Their eyes may search for answers before their mouth can say any words. But one thing will be certain. The weight of their presence will be impossible to ignore. The past will manifest in the present. This reunion won't be easy. There's no way to erase what happened, but it will be a decisive moment. Because the instant this person is in front of you, the truth will be in their gaze, much more than in their words. And you? How will you react? Will your face carry the pain that's already behind you? Or will it show that time has brought understanding? Will your eyes reflect coldness or compassion? Because regardless of what was lived, what happens now will mark the fate of this story. What this person needs to say, it won't just be an empty apology. This person wants you to know they recognize the mistake, that they understand what they did, that they now see with clarity what was once blindness. I want you to know that it wasn't your fault. The words of disdain, the thoughtless actions, the moments when you felt small, none of that reflected the truth about you. The truth was that the problem was never you. And now, this person needs you to know that. And you? Are you ready to listen? If you give it space, if you allow this encounter, it will be a test not just for that person but for you as well. Because it's not just about how they feel, it's about what you carry within yourself. And in listening, you might realize that the past no longer holds the same power over you. Perhaps at the moment you hear the words you have waited so long for, you will recognize that you no longer need them to move forward in peace. Or maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of something new. Something only you can decide if it's worth it. What do you choose? Now, the final question is no longer about that person. It's about you. About what you want to carry with you moving forward. About the story you want to write from this moment on. Because fate has already placed this situation before you, but the answer has always been yours. Fate is already in motion. The moment is approaching. You can feel it. There's something in the air, a different energy, an invisible call that resonates within you. The pieces have already been set in motion, and what needs to happen will happen, regardless of what you do to avoid it. Ignoring the signs won't help. Pretending that this person isn't coming your way won't work. Because when fate decides that something needs to be resolved, it finds a way to cross paths and make the inevitable happen. And you need to be ready. The conflict between pride and the desire to restart. Inside this person, there is a constant struggle. A part of them wants to come back and simply lay all the unspoken words in front of you. They want to look into your eyes and say they regret it, that they miss you, that they would do everything differently if they could. But there's another part that hesitates, because what if it's already too late? What if you're not willing to listen? The fear of being rejected is as great as the need for redemption. And you? Have you decided which side of your heart you will listen to? Because deep down, that person just needs a sign, a small gesture that says there's still room for one last chance, the look that will change everything. The moment that person sees you, even before any words are spoken, the look will be definitive, because there are things that only the eyes can express. If there's hardness in your gaze, that person will understand. They'll know they've missed their chance, that there's no going back, that they must carry this guilt forever. If there's neutrality, maybe they'll feel desperate. Perhaps they'll try to find in the silence some opening to fit back into your life. But if there's understanding, if there's a spark of emotion in your gaze, fate may change right there, in that very instant. Because some stories don't end when we think they do, and some people only realize too late what they should never have let go. What's at stake now? This reunion won't be just any moment. It will define something bigger. Maybe it will bring liberation. Maybe it will close a chapter. Maybe it will begin a new one. But either way, you will come out different from this experience. Because even if that person took time to see the value you've always had, now they see it. And that changes everything. The final choice. What will you do when that moment arrives? Will you let fate take its course? Or will you close the door for good? No choice is wrong. Right and wrong do not exist here. There's only what your heart feels, what your soul desires, what your intuition tells you. The past is calling, the present is seeking an answer, and the future? It depends on you. Destiny is already in motion. What will you do? Comment, subscribe, and leave your like.